Shalom, this is Levi Schorr. Welcome back to Swing Good Torah. We're going to do Parsha Shoftim and speak a little bit about the month of Elul. We're going to be learning from the Ohr Gedaliah, the Halakha Ohr Gedaliah. Amazing stuff. So let's jump right in. So he starts and he quotes the Shlah HaKodesh from his sefer Derech Chaim, and it's Tochacha and Musa. So he quotes the pasuk from the Parsha. He says, Shoftim v'shotrim titein lecha b'kol sharecha. So it says, judges and law enforcement officers you will place in all of your gates. So it says in Sefer Yetzirah, it says that the nekavim, that the openings of a person, these are called sharim, these are called gates. So this will be referring to our eyes, our nose, our mouth, our ears. It's saying that the pasuk is talking about that a person should guard himself, and he should always be supervised so that some avera doesn't come from any of these places. So what does this mean? So we should be very careful, like what we're listening to. Like we want to be listening to holy things. We want to be listening to holy words of Torah, positive messages. We want to guard ourselves from listening to a lot of lashon hara and negative talk and motzi shemra, like disparaging comments about people. And it's getting very difficult because the whole political spectrum, it seems like it's filled with is lashon hara and motzi shemra and constant negativity, and we should try to guard, put shoftim, put judges, our ears. We shouldn't hear things. We want to hear positive things. We want to see good things. We want to see people doing acts of kindness. We want to try to not look so much on all this violence and immorality. We want to look away from it, and it's just filled with the movies and the news and the shows and everything is just filled with like physical immorality and violence, and we want to guard our eyes. And the less we can see of this, we want to look at more positive things. We want to look, in the love of our family and friends. We want to look at good things, and our mouth is so important. We want to speak words of Torah, holy words. We want to speak positive and kind words. And we want to stay away from speaking lashon hara, like really evil talk. We don't want to say negative things about people. We want to constantly guard ourselves from saying, even like falsehoods. We want to speak the truth. And it's difficult. And the Yetzer Hara is always engaging us to try to look at what we shouldn't look at, to hear what we shouldn't hear, and to speak what we shouldn't speak. And we want to start guarding ourselves. And Parsha Shoftim, it's also in the national level, it's saying set up judges, set up law enforcement officers, set up Beis Din, set up Sanhedrins. There should be courts of law, and even there's a mitzvah given to all of mankind, to all the Bnei Noach, all the nations of the world, all the sons and daughters of Noah were given this one of the 7 commands, 7 mitzvahs, which was to set up law courts. There should be a system of justice and law and order in every country in the world. But personally, also, we have to set up our own judges, and we have to set up our own officers, and we have to guard, what we hear, what we see, and what we speak. We want it to be for the good. So that's what he's saying there. So then he's saying that we should be yishpot b'seichel, that we should judge with our intellect. We want to use our intelligence, and that the brain should rule over the heart, meaning that our intellect should rule over our emotions. We want to control our emotions through our intellect. And then explains the shotrim, the police officers, the law enforcement officers. What does that mean? That when a person can't reach this yishuv hadas, when his mind is not settled, that a person needs to motivate himself to do what he needs to do. So sometimes we're not motivated to learn Torah. Sometimes we're not motivated to do the mitzvah. Sometimes we're not motivated to work on our midos and perfect ourselves and refine our character. We have to force ourselves. We have to be like shotrim. We have to be like a police officer dragging us away. No, you're going to do it now. That's an order. So we have to also be shotrim to ourselves. So we have to judge. We have to our intellect has to rule over our emotions. We can't run wild with our emotions. We have to think. We have to have clarity of what we're doing and control our emotions. And then we have to force ourselves sometimes to do the right thing. So we see these 2 aspects in the Matan Torah. In the giving of the Torah, we see these 2 aspects of Shoftim and Shotrim. So we stood at the bottom of Har Sinai, we stood at the bottom of Mount Sinai waiting to receive the Torah. waiting to hear Hashem speak. So before we said Nasa v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. We will do the Torah. We will rush to do the mitzvos, and then we will learn about the mitzvos in the Torah. So this is the aspect of shofto, of judging with the intellect, that it's good. We judge with our intellect that we knew that this was good to receive the Torah and the mitzvos. We saw the kindness that Hashem did for us in Mitzrayim and Egypt. We saw how He brought us out of slavery, how He defeated our enemies, how He split the Yam Suf, how He split the Red Sea, how he gave us these miracles. He turned at the waters of Marah, the bitter waters. He told Moses to throw a piece of wood into the bitter waters and made it sweet. So we saw these miraculous things that Hashem was doing for us. And we knew that it was good to accept the Torah because our intellect told us. Maybe our emotions were running wild and saying, oh, it's too much. I can't handle it. I want to do whatever I want to do. And we got to get that under control with the intellect. And then Hashem, He forced the mountain upon us like a wine vat. So the mountain actually came over all of us as we were standing there at Har Sinai, as the Jewish people were standing on Mount Sinai. And the Torah was given with force. And this is so, even when we can't reach the neimot in the Torah, sometimes we can't taste the pleasantness and the beauty of the Torah. But this is when we always need to force ourselves, always in every time and every circumstance and every situation we're in. Sometimes we have to force ourselves, and we force ourselves through the struggle, and then we can taste the neimos, the beauty of the Torah. Sometimes we don't always see it. So, yesh lomar. So there's those who say that the intention of what we are saying in the month of Elul, in Chodesh Elul, that we say every day. We say from Rosh Chodesh Elul, from the first of the month of Elul until Shmini Atzeres, we say this Tehillim, Kaf Zayin, we say Psalm 27. And it says in David HaMelech, King David, he says, Shifti bebeis Hashem kol yemei chayai. So it says, let me sit, let me live in the house of Hashem all the days of my life. So David HaMelech, he was requesting from Hashem that in every situation that he would be in, whether it was light to him or whether it was a situation where there was no light shining so much. So I think what that means here is sometimes we're in situations and we can't see the good of it. Like sometimes we're being, afflicted with Yisurim. Maybe, we're having health problems. We're having problems, making money. We're having problems, in Shalom Bayis. We're fighting with our wife, or fighting with our husband, or we're having trouble raising the kids, or we're having trouble finding a wife or husband, or we're having trouble, having kids. No matter what the situation is. I mean, everyone finds massive opportunities for Yisurim in this world. And sometimes we can see the good in the situation, and a lot of times we can't. We can't see what's good about this. Why is Hashem putting this in this situation? But all those times, no matter if we see this is good for us, or even if we don't see it's good for us, David HaMelech, King David, was saying that Shifso bebeis Hashem b'kol eis, that I want to live in the house of Hashem. I want to feel the presence of Hashem in any situation. I want to be close to Hashem in any situation I'm in, no matter if I see that it's good for me or if I can't see that it's good for me. Kol yemei chayai, all the days of my life. And then all this, the next part of the pasuk is that if a person can do this, if a person can always live, with Hashem, then he's going to merit, because at the end of the pasuk says, Lechazos b'noam Hashem. Then he's going to see the delight, the beauty, the pleasantness of Hashem, and then further it ends levaker b'heichalo, to contemplate or to visit in his house, in his sanctuary, in his temple. So sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes we're facing all these Yisurim in life, and sometimes we see, it seems like the world sometimes is run by very corrupt people, and there's not mishpat, there's not justice, there's not tzedakah, there's not mishpat and tzedakah in the world. A Jewish king is supposed to rule with absolute justice, so people see the justice of his ways and then see the justice of the ways of Hashem, and tzedakah and kindness and giving and picking up those in need. And that's the way of a Jewish king. And it seems to be lost right now in the world. We don't see it so much. But we ourselves personally can always attach ourselves to the Torah mitzvahs, and we can see the pleasantness and the beauty and the delight of the Torah and the delight of living in the house of Hashem. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah.